Hello, and welcome to Message in the Middle with Marianne. We all know that life is hard, right? It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it can be wonderful all at the same time. My hope is that we can take a deep dive into self-development topics and explore life's lessons through book clubs, conversations, and interviews. And together, we can uncover the lessons that others have already learned to help us navigate this crazy, wonderful ride called life. Hello and welcome to Message in the Middle. Before we get into the actual episode today, I want to take a minute and say thank you. It's been another full year for the show and the Facebook community, and many of you show up week after week. You take time out of your already busy schedule, you message me and let me know which messages resonate with you or how they're helping. And for those of you in the Message in the Middle Facebook group, thank you for being part of the group, for the likes, comments, shares. They absolutely help keep it going. And thank you for just wanting to be part of the conversation. I appreciate all of you. Since this will be the last episode of the year, which kind of sounds crazy to be honest with you and boggles my mind a little bit. But anyway, since we're about to kick off the new year and since I've had a few of you ask me for advice on how to pick a guiding word of the year or theme for next year, I thought I'd take a few minutes to give you some thoughts on that. So let's start at the beginning. Why do you choose a guiding word or a theme for the year anyway? For me, the biggest reason is it simplifies goal setting. It sort of sets an overarching intention rather than a specific resolution. So it's kind of like a compass to make sure you're going in the right direction. It's not a specific address like 123 Main Road or a specific goal like drink 5 glasses of water a day. Instead, it's more directional. So like setting a compass to move north, south, east, or west, or directionally toward the intention of living a healthier lifestyle. A guiding word or theme can provide clarity and direction. When you're faced with choices, the word can act as a filter, and it helps you stay aligned with your core values and intentions for the year. For example, if your word is courage, you might be more inclined to take on challenges that push you outside of your comfort zone if you keep that word in mind. Instead of overwhelming yourself with sometimes rigid, very specific resolutions, a guiding word or theme, it helps you filter out distractions by keeping you focused on what truly matters to you and provides gentle motivation, reminding you of your intentions and gives you guidance without the pressure of specific goals or actions. So instead of feeling like you're failing when you miss a workout, for example, your word or theme of healthier lifestyle can remind you to generally be more cognizant about focusing on small steps and self-care. So unlike a specific resolution, a word or theme evolves with you. It gives you gentle motivation without locking you into specifics. So, for example, if you had a specific goal that said, I'm going to jog 1 mile every day, and then for some reason you mess up your knee and you can't jog 1 mile every day, well, you're not going to meet that specific goal. But if you had a theme of movement as your word or as your theme, then you could just know that directionally, you want to add more movement into your life. And so that movement may now look different since you messed up your knee. Maybe that movement looks like chair yoga or something else, right? So it gives you flexibility to evolve with you without a very specific goal that you may or may not be able to meet. So now that you know why you might want to pick a word or a theme of the year, how do you figure out what your word or theme should be? Well, let's talk about some practical steps into getting into that. Your word or theme should emulate how you want to be, the energy, the vibe, what you want your year to be about. Less about checking things off a list and being super specific, more about intention and making conscious choices. Let's talk about some practical steps that can help you figure out what your word or theme might be. A good place to start is reflecting on the past year. Look back at your highs and your lows, the challenges you overcame, what brought you joy, where you experienced growth personally, professionally, spiritually. What lessons did you learn? And what goals or feelings were left unmet? Think about those things and get really clear on your year in reflection and what you want to get out of next year. Visualize the year ahead of you. So how do you want to feel throughout the year? Empowered, peaceful, focused, creative. Those are some great words. What goals or lifestyle changes are you hoping to achieve? Is there a pattern there that sort of could group them together under one heading of a theme or a word? Think about lots of areas, not just one. So career growth, relationships, wellness, personal development, all the things. And think about what runs through all of them in common. So when you're looking for patterns or clues, one way or a couple of ways to really get clear on what those reoccurring patterns might be is to do a journaling exercise. Write down all the words and phrases or ideas that come to mind during your reflection. Don't hold back, just kind of free form write and see what you come up with for any repeat patterns there. Notice if certain words keep appearing in conversations, in media, in your thoughts. There definitely are messages there. If you just look for them, you will find some reoccurring patterns around what makes sense for you and what you've been thinking about. Narrow it down because there might be more than one. And to do that, do a gut check, do an intuition check. Does the word excite you? Does it resonate with you? Does the word feel relevant to multiple areas of your life? Does it feel motivating? Make sure the word you choose feels right and embodies your vision of how you want to feel and what you want to get out of the year. Doesn't have to be fancy words, doesn't have to be a popular word. What fills you up, makes you feel energized and excited. That's the kind of word you want to pick. All right, so you've got your word. Now, how do you bring it to life? How do you make sure that it's going to show up and lead you and guide you? So the key here is to make sure it's not just a word. You have to bring it into your life. Set up daily routines and reminders, if you can, that emulate that word. So create visual reminders such as a phone wallpaper or a screensaver or a desktop background. Use sticky notes or journals to display your word and put things on places that you typically spend time, like your workplace or your bathroom mirror. Use your word as an intentional decision-making filter. So when you're considering new opportunities or commitments, say it out loud. Just think about it. Say, does this thing that you're thinking about doing, does it map out, does it tie to my word or my theme? Integrate it into daily practices like morning affirmations, meditation, gratitude journaling. And it's always great to share your word with a friend or community because they can help you and hold you accountable to make sure you're thinking about it. And then I guess lastly, what I would say is, and I always say this about vision boards and goals in general, is schedule quarterly or monthly check-ins and evaluate how you're aligning with your word. Adjust goals and intentions based on how life's evolving. Journal about how you want that word to influence the rest of the year, how it influenced the part of the year that's passed. Celebrate the wins, even if they're small. And I guess the last thing I'd say is if you haven't signed up for our vision board session, which is fine, there is, though, at the link for the sign up, the vision board session is on January 12th and it's free if you want to come, and you don't have to have a vision board. You can just talk about your intentions for the year and hear others. But there's also a link on there for a free workbook, and that workbook will help you do some of these exercises. So just something to think about. If you need a tool to kind of prompt you through some of that thinking, you might want to check out the free printable workbook there. So you might be wondering, what's my word of the year, or what's my theme for 2025? Well, I was thinking about it too, and there were 3 words really that kind of kept coming up for me. So evolve was one of them, because I'm ready for more change. I want to continue to push myself forward, and that just kind of kept reappearing. I also debated the word visible because, as I've mentioned a few times in past episodes and talk at length in an upcoming episode that I did with Shiloh Minor, I still struggle with showing up fully and not being scared to put myself fully out there, be fully visible. And I want to work on that. So I will work on that. But ultimately, I've chosen future self. And I chose future self because I think it encompasses the other two words, evolve and visible. And it's more generally a reminder to look at things through the lens of the version of myself I aspire to become, not who I am now. It encourages intentional living and personal growth and should help me with my goals of getting more specific about who my future self is or my person B is. You heard me talk about that a few episodes ago. And I want to get more clear. I want to really have a vivid picture of what she's like, who she hangs out with, what she wears, what she eats, how she moves, what she listens to, how she spends her time, where she vacations, what she does for fun, all the things. I need to get super clear on that so I can start manifesting that future self a little more clearly. I also think it will promote conscious decision making based on who I want to be, not just where I am now, and hopefully helps bridge the gap between my current habits and my future goals through consistent, meaningful actions. So, how am I going to apply this future self theme in my daily life? Well, I'm going to think about it regularly. I'm going to envision my future self and get very crystal clear on what that looks like, how she lives, thinks, acts, all those things. I'm going to ask myself, what would my future self do when I'm faced with decisions? So not what now Marianne wants to do, but what would the future Marianne a year from now want to do, or 2 years from now. And then I'm going to try to build some new habits that are aligned with that new future self. So that will be where I focus my specific habit changes on. And then I guess I'm just going to say as a reminder to myself and to you guys that every small action we take shapes the future. So for me, living with that vivid picture of my future self in mind creates a path towards becoming my best, most fulfilled version of myself. And that's obviously what I'm continuing to try to do on this journey. So that's why I chose future self, and that will be my theme. And for those of you that do come to the vision board session, you'll hear me talk a little bit more about that. And I should have something on my vision board about it. I haven't done that yet, but I will. And I guess I'm going to wrap up this episode and just ask you or encourage you to take some time and reflect on the past year. And again, don't forget that workbook that I put out there for you guys. Reflect on your hopes and dreams for the year to come. And if you're someone who does build a vision board, having a word or theme should help you, inform you what to put on that board this year, what areas of focus should be on there to keep you in alignment. And just remember, this doesn't have to take weeks or days or even hours. It should be fairly simple, but effective, and it should help you create more focus and intention. I'd love to hear what word you end up choosing, and you can share that in the Facebook group. I'll definitely put a post up about it as we get into the beginning of the year, and you could put it in there, but feel free to, again, DM me, send me an email through the contact me button in the message in the middle website. Anyway, really, because I love to hear from you guys. But in closing, again, thank you so much for being part of the Message in the Middle community. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and I wish you all happy holidays and a very focused and intentional year ahead. Thank you for listening to this episode of Message in the Middle with Marianne. If you enjoyed the podcast, please take a minute to share it and write a review, as it helps bring new listeners to our audience. If you'd like to keep the conversation going between episodes, please join us at Facebook group Message in the Middle with Marianne.